Testing.
What number are you, sir? 7. Right now.
Yep.
You don't have a little thingy. Well, you do. I do. I'm good. Come on, Jim.
What?
Brad, you need to go fishing.
Got that right.
You're long overdue. Did you, what number are you? 9.
It is now. Thank you.
We Energy still doesn't send out the same kind of bills that we used to send out years ago.
Isn't the whole thing in your packet? There's just one page?
This is just an account summary.
There should be 15, 16 pages.
Yeah, me too.
It's every.
They never updated their billing station 3, station 2, and station 3.
I was gonna ask about that.
I was
We just got our approval from the IRS, what, a month and a half ago?
really.
From the account, yeah. And if it wasn't for that Sandbox of ARPA,
Yeah.
they intervened. They said, I can't get the IRS. So we got- Yeah, and now LifeQuest is, all those accounts that are going into our regular account that should have gone into, it's because we were in town, but now that'll all change. This was last time in IRS. And I did that, I did it in the tip thing.
Oh, yeah. We have to have a meeting this year?
Yeah.
Maybe contact, I would assume, it's gonna be quick. Maybe we can schedule it at the same time and we'll do another. That worked out well.
Did you see the email from the?
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, I haven't seen that. Have you seen that?
well, they had that map,
Oh, that
with
was,
that tiny little thing for succession.
but that wasn't, you guys didn't agree on that.
No, we don't agree on anything.
That's what I thought.
I mean, we saw it, but.
Fred wants to go lunch.
Hmm.
Is he nice? I mean, he seems nice on the phone.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, I think it's,
He said it's a good fit.
well, that's good.
Andrew, when you talk, is Justin coming up with you?
Maybe.
Should we put chair up?
We'll have,
I'm capable.
pulling a
Just like,
chair up, I
zoom
hope
in on your
so.
faces.
Oh, we're well spread out, good.
You sit up, you're watching the numbers?
I got stabbed.
The numbers at the gas pump, I don't like those either.
Oh, me neither. God.
We're not gonna talk about that.
Wayne bought me a brand new towel. That's going to be so $8 a month.
Electric.
Thanks, Wade. It's $5.50 a gallon right now, going to $8, right?
Let me see by the end of the summer.
These countries is gonna grind.
I read in the paper that Marty's Pizza is closing. You know, the one on Blue Mound. Used to be one of my favorite spots because they had the Colossal Pizza, which is 2 cookie trays long. Used to pick that up and put that across the whole back seat of my car. But they're closing because they can't get anybody in to work. They used to have 70 employees. Now they're down to 10. And they just can't make it work.
All right, I guess we're gonna go here.
Close enough.
Close enough. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Vernon Village Board meeting. Today is Thursday, May 19th, 2022, 7 p.m. I will call the Village Board meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance and a standing moment of silence. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Roll call and open meeting law compliance check.
President Carl Fortner,
Present.
trustees Jim Solani,
Present.
Dan DeGrave,
Present.
Dylan Newman,
Here.
Lorene Dashik.
Here.
Mr. President, note for the record, you do have a quorum of your village board, and also note for the record that the agenda was posted inside and outside the village hall, the village website, and other entities within the village, and the media. You're in full compliance with the open meetings law.
Thank you. I'll need to read this announcement. It's agenda item 4, consideration and possible action on a motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin statutes 19.85(1)(c), considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data on any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically Village of Vernon Clerk Administrator, Vernon Fire Chief, DPW Director, Recreation Director, and Treasurer. In closed session will be the Village of Vernon Board of Trustees. Motion will require a roll call vote. No action will be taken in closed session. Number 5, public comments. Are there any members of the public wishing to make a comment? No. We are on to number 6, our Waukesha Sheriff replacement for Deputy Ward is here. We usually move him right to the top of the agenda, so we'll move you right to the top in case you have something to report. Otherwise, you can go back to patrolling.
I have absolutely nothing. Do you guys have anything for us?
Questions? Nope.
I just wanted to thank you for all the emails that are going out from the clerk's administrator's office to you and the staff. Thank you, especially with all these peddlers going around. Thank you.
I will definitely pass it along too.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
Good. First items up are the operator bartender's licenses. We will take these one at a time as we always do. If the person did have a record, they are required to come in, and Miss Jessica Provencher, is that how you say that, is here. If you could come and just up at the microphone and just state your name and address for the record, and then we will have our Clerk Karen, Administrator Shu to run through her application.
My name is Jessica Provencher. My address is West 227 South 8765 Duran Drive in Big Bend, Wisconsin, 53103.
Thank you.
And Mr. President and board members, I just wanted to state all the applicants that are before you this evening. As you stated, Jessica's here because of some minor things on a record, but all the applicants have all their compliances. They've completed all their courses, they paid all their fees, and background checks were done, and everything's in full compliance. So they're ready for your approval based upon your reviews.
Okay, so these were some time ago, 2007, and the one in 2017 was dismissed, actually. So are there any, I mean, everybody has them. We don't need to rehash them here in open session, but does anybody have any questions?
Motion to approve?
Okay, we got a motion to approve the operator's bartender license for Miss Jessica Provencher.
I'll second that motion.
Second there. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Mr. Benjamin Zahn. I'll make a motion to approve his operator's bartender's license for Benjamin Zahn. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? No record, everything in order, I think you stated, on all three of them. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is Miss Rebecca Thornton.
I'll make a motion to approve the bartender's license for Rebecca Thornton.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to fire department matters. First is, there's two items, letter 6B and 6C. The first, letter B, is a little bit of housekeeping. This was a motion that we passed back in November 18th to authorize the fire chief to sell the surplus ambulance on the surplus website. That was not done. Assistant Chief Hayes is here. And instead, they found a private buyer, and this is letter C. And I think we did get some information on that somewheres, as I remember, for the East Troy Fire Department in the amount of $24,000.
That is correct. And what we did before we did this is we went and talked to our rep from the ambulance company, explained what the offer was we were going to receive. And just to step back a second, prior to the East Troy thing, there was another case where Hales Corners Fire Department had one of their brand-new ambulances destroyed in an accident, and they needed another ambulance, so they came out and looked at ours. And it was at that point we were going through the numbers and came up with this number, and I believe Chief Eldey had talked to you, President Faulkner, so.
He did.
So we came up with this number, and then Hales Corners elected to go in a different direction. So then we were back to square one, and then all of a sudden, East Troy was looking for a replacement to have. Did they have an accident too? They had something go wrong with their roof. But either way, they came out, they looked at it, and basically offered us the same exact amount that we were asking for it, and we would have gotten $12,000 as a trade-in, and we got $24,000 for it.
And I know when we talked about this in November, we did have, I do believe, at least by consensus, unanimous consensus, to sell this. This is a 2000, just so the public knows, it's the 2003 Horton International Ambulance, number 1253. And it was replaced right before COVID. It was saved as a COVID ambulance, if you will, stripped out of a lot of the sensitive gear so it would be easily cleaned in the event of we were transporting a number of infected patients.
Right, that is correct.
And that never really materialized in a big way anyway, but it had some use. And it is surplus. In other words, we don't need it. And I think our board is looking to sell surplus equipment instead of hanging on to something. And I know we talked about a reserve price on the website of somewhere towards 20,000, but I don't even think it was above 20.
Yeah, and then if you think about it, if we even sell it on Wisconsin surplus, you have to pay the auction fees.
Right, it's
Actually, the buyer has to pay.
the buyer
those.
has to pay, but the buyer's going to take it into account in his bid. There's no question about
Correct,
that.
correct.
And this will be without commission, as is, whereas, they're gonna come and pick it up, I assume, right?
That is correct. So the other good thing about this is, the chief of East Troy was a member of the Vernon Fire Department. And I think we're gonna see a lot more, working together on different, projects or things in the future.
Was our original motion that specific,
Yeah,
that we have to rescind it?
yeah, that's.
Because I thought we just gave them permission to sell it for X amount of dollars or something.
And surplus, you directly said that. That's the only reason the president put it on
Oh,
there, because he
okay.
just wanted to make sure he,
Right, and I had Karen put the minutes in it. Trustee Slaney made the motion even.
I just didn't remember it being that specific.
Yeah, we were specific, so that's why I made it a separate agenda item. It probably should be rescinded as long as we're gonna go ahead and approve the sale. If you don't like the sale and you think it should be put on the website instead, then don't rescind the website motion, I guess. I mean, that's not suggesting that that's a good idea, guys, but.
Well, in view of that, I'll make a motion to rescind it. Let's see, to rescind the November 18, 2021 motion authorizing the Vernon Fire Chief to sell the surplus ambulance.
I'll second it. Any further discussion on the motion to rescind the earlier motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now we're talking about the selling it and of course, you know, our motions have to approve the sale, as you guys know, and authorize me to sign. I don't know, I'm thinking of some kind of an agreement or bill of sale, just transferring, and the title. Someone's got to, it's a
Right.
licensed vehicle, we'll have to sign the title. And then Karen will get it off our insurance, and as soon as they pick it up, and off we'll go. You'll give them the keys and they can pick it up. So are we good on the price? Looking for a motion as I kind of drafted it, but
Well, I'll make the motion then. Motion to approve the sale and authorize the village president to sign an agreement and title transfer for the surplus ambulance to the East Troy Fire Department for $24,000 as recommended by the Vernon Fire Chief.
I'll second that motion.
any discussion? Anything for our fire department officers? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Any
job,
other questions
guys.
for us while we're here? I'm exhausted.
Yeah, Eagle?
Maybe you could do their report, you should.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, over at Eagle, what did happen today?
So it ended up being an explosion in the building. I really didn't get the whole story on it. But there was, what's that? It would have been East Troy, or I'm sorry, Eagles,
And then there was
and then it was
Vernon.
Mukwonago, and then it was Vernon. So we were the third/fourth chief. Him and I got there at the same time, but, yeah, there was an explosion. There was reports of multiple people missing, so they immediately upgraded their response to a box alarm, I believe. Their first rig got on scene. There was people missing. They had one seriously injured patient that got transported to Freighter, to which I have now heard had minor burns and a fractured femur. So they're doing good. Everybody else was accounted for. They had gotten out of the building, but it was a fairly large structure that makes piers for boats. And there was a lot of flammable stuff in there and outside. So by the time I got there, the building was pretty much fully involved. There was not much they were going to do, but the Eagle Fire Department upgraded it to, I believe, a fourth box, and then went to what's called the Strike Force for tenders, which brings in, I think I saw one from Rome, Wisconsin, and one from Bristol, Wisconsin. So that comes out from outside of our zone for Mavis. So there was quite a bit of rigs there. We left about 2 o'clock. The ceiling had come down, but the walls were still up. They were getting ready to take the walls down and just keep drenching it. So very lucky that, nobody else got hurt in this fire, and very lucky that no firefighters got hurt. I know a bunch were treated for heat issues on scene, but none of them were transported. So we were there from like 7 o'clock, 7:30 till 2.
Was the smoke toxic, or did they evacuate the area?
They evacuated
because of the smoke?
everything around it and the
Yeah.
school, I believe, correct?
Yeah, they evacuated everything around it, the school, and then they did a shelter in place for like a mile, just kind of a precautionary thing.
It made the national news tonight.
I saw it, Channel
Yeah,
12,
yeah.
ABC News.
Yeah.
The smoke was thick black,
Oh, yeah.
just,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
why I asked
nasty
about the
stuff.
smoke.
It sounded, from what I watched from one of the chiefs that gave a report, was it sounded like there was like a fuel farm inside with propane or LP and
Yeah.
diesel, and apparently a whole section of that building was just fuel storage.
Yeah, and I had outside where I was in charge of the back of the building, I had 3 500-gallon tanks of 2 diesel and 1 unleaded fuel that I was puckering. I was actually backing out and hiding behind parts of piers just until I got water back there, because it was, It was a scary situation for a while, but we had some areas in there where we were hitting it with water, big lines, and hitting it with water for 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, we got this. This is out. And as soon as we'd shut the line down, it would fire back up again. So we don't know if it was fed by a gas line that was. They had to actually dig for the gas line and pinch it off because there was no shut off on the building. So we don't know if it was fed by a gas line there or if that was actually metals that were burning that hot that as soon as we turned the water off, everything just reignited again. At the end when I left, there were about 4 or 5 there. There were only 3 that were up. But one of them was from outside the county with what are they called? It's got a special name. It's got a piercing nozzle on the end. Boogaloo or something? No, it's got a weird name. So anyways, this thing went up and they were just poking holes where they could and it was blowing heavy water in the building just to try to get to areas that we weren't able to reach. So we didn't break anything. And
How many square feet was the building? Do you know?
I'm gonna start guessing now. It had 8 full open doors that semis could drive in the back.
Yeah. Right. Right, that's,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So it was a nice day. And we're on like, I think, 5 of our own, 6 of our
Yeah,
own calls
we've
right
had
now?
A lot of our own as well.
And we didn't take a pass. But somebody else did.
We'll see you next week at the staff meeting, right?
Also on the news was a big training thing at the airport. Is that something Vernon does or is ever invited to?
The training at the airport where they do the fuel things, we've never been invited there. I had the opportunity to do that as a Milwaukee County Fire Chief once. And that was a blast, to be honest with you. I got to ride in the boss's seat of an airport fire truck and, get out there and actually, it's like a video game. I mean, that's cheating putting fires out like that, But they could actually that would have been a good thing to bring out one of the airport trucks with foam on it. That's a good idea, and I didn't think about it.
I don't know if that's in our budget,
What's that, an airport truck? Yeah, but it was a good day. I mean, like I said, our guys did great, especially the fact that while that was going on, we had a couple of other calls at the same time, and now since then, we've had a couple more calls. We just had 2 calls while I was waiting for the meeting to start. Then we covered everything, so.
How many of our guys and gals are out there?
I had 4 in the engine of myself, so 5 total.
And then you got a full crew on standby here?
What did I have? I had 3?
3 back here and Chief Mahi and myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and then one of our retired firefighters took it upon herself to buy lunch and everything for all the people and specifically bought nice cookies for me, so when we got back to the fire, there was a nice kitchen full of food for us to eat. Even though at big fires like this, they go out of their way to feed you while you're doing it. You come out, you go to rehab, you eat a lot, drink a lot of Gatorade, drink a lot of water. There were pizzas there today, hot dogs there today, sandwiches, snacks. I mean, they go out of their way when you get a big fire like that to feed you, to keep you fueled up.
Hydrated, yeah.
So,
Patrick, the other calls you had today, were those Vernon or were they?
Vernon,
yeah, everything except this very last one was a Vernon call. The last one was a paramedic intercept to Village of Waukesha, where one of our Vernon paramedics is working tonight, so he was gonna cover it.
The Stoli?
Yeah. So, yep, everything was in Vernon today,
Except the big one in Eagle.
except the big one in Eagle. And I'm glad it was an Eagle.
Or
Yeah.
we wouldn't be here.
I'd still be
gonna
sitting
say,
in the
you-
station typing up a report.
Right. Well, thank you for your service. Thank you for the mutual aid over in Eagle. I'm sure they
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they, like I said, they were, it's always fun when you start looking at it, the rigs and seeing who's there and where they all came from. And, you know, stuff you don't get to see every day, so. Thank you.
All right, have a
All right.
safe weekend.
You too, guys.
All right. Next up, Plan Commission items D, E, F, and G. The first up is D, and also I put E with it, separate item. But there are two Plan Commission items that came out of our April Plan Commission, a couple of recommendations regarding Ken Walters' Lone Silo Enterprises Development off of National Avenue. One was to approve amendments, the recommendation to approve amendments to his site plan and plan of operation. And the second one was to approve temporary signage for the properties located on the lots there. Plan Commission made motions to recommend to the village board to approve both of the amendments to the site plan, plan of operation and the temporary signage. As I recall, it was not very difficult or controversial. These amendments were pretty small on the site plan, plan of operation, and he had already, these are amendments, so he was already approved. And the signage, we had to work within our existing temporary sign ordinance to recommend approval for that, but we did so, and when we get to the last item on Plan Commission, which is the zoning code, we've made significant changes to that, so, but we tried to fit within our existing signage and also what the Plan Commission discussed and is advancing with respect to changes to those rules, so under either set of rules, these signs would be in compliance, is what we tried to make sure that happened. So, you've got the Plan Commission materials and minutes. I think the minutes got sent around afterwards, so you got the minutes. Jim was there, of course. I think it was unanimous in both cases. Yeah, I think it was. So we'd be looking for, and we'll do these separately, of course, motion to, well, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the amendments to the site plan, plan of operation for the property located at W222S6605 National Avenue, V&T tax number 2017996-002 for Ken Walter Jr., doing business as Lone Silo Enterprises LLC, with the conditions of and as recommended by the Vernon Plan Commission. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. Right? Nothing?
Nothing.
Anything? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the temporary signage. I kind of teed that up at the same time, so I'll make a motion to approve the temporary signage for the properties located on National Avenue, tax number VNT 2017996-002, 003, and 004 for Ken Walter Jr. doing business as Lone Silo Enterprises LLC with the conditions of and as recommended by the Vernon Plan Commission. Second?
I'll second that as well.
Any discussion, further information needed on those? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item up is a Plan Commission item from our May meeting last week. Trustee Dillon was involved in that one. It's his family's property. But he came in and with his final certified survey map, the Plan Commission had already given conceptual approval. I think he followed along, and it was it was just a combination of lots. So you've got the minutes there, and you've got the planner's report there. And so the Plan Commission recommended to the village board to approve it. So I will make a motion to approve and authorize the village president to sign the final certified survey map for Dylan Newman for the property owner for the property located at W243 S8140 Evergreen Drive, VNT 2073995, after all the conditions as recommended by the Vernon Plan Commission are satisfied. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Mr. President, trustee Newman wanted to note for the record that he's not participating in the discussion, nor is he voting on the issue.
Right, I assume he's going to be
Abstain.
abstaining and reclusing and not saying anything. We won't make you leave, right. We won't make you leave the room. If it was a big discussion, then we would. But I don't, if there's discussion, then we'll ask you to leave the room. Otherwise, if there's no discussion, we will take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, one abstention. Thank you. Next up, as I've indicated in my president's report over the last several months of meetings, the Plan Commission has been hard at work looking at our zoning code, which is in our ordinances as Chapter 300, to make changes to that. As the board may recall, we have money in the budget to make changes. We were given or the board gave the Plan Commission, after discussing it at length, I think at staff with our planner, a list of possible amendments or provisions to look into, and the Plan Commission did. We did go, if it was bled into, if you will, or merged into another provision, we looked at that as well and made appropriate, what the Plan Commission believes is appropriate changes, and you all have received those changes on a red line basis showing the additions and strikes. The Plan Commission then recommended it go to the board with a recommendation that it goes for legal review. I think the Plan Commission's feeling, and I would concur with this, or everyone concurred with it, was because the legal review is spending money, the board should at least take a look at what the Plan Commission did as far as changes and make a determination to send it for legal review, as in, if the board looks at it and says, well, this is not what we want, maybe we send it back to the Plan Commission. But I think the Plan Commission, views that we followed our directive, if you will, and those are our recommended changes. Goes for legal review. From there, it goes to a public hearing before it's finalized, and then it comes back through the Plan Commission and the board for final changes based on input from the public. It's not a done deal until the public gets a chance to review it and comment. And we may, based on those public input and comment, we may make further changes or change the changes that we made to address whatever concerns are raised. So, Jimmy, you have anything to add? Is that?
No, that covered everything. There is one important, I think it's important, in that we made some changes on, I don't remember how many, but on a few areas
Yeah,
where the
that's right.
board no longer has to be involved with it. When it's purely a technical planning commission issue, the planning commission can say yes or no, and that's where it's gonna go. And that issue wouldn't have to come to the board then. You've been at a number of them recently that, from a board standpoint, we didn't really have any input,
Right, that's true. We asked Sean, this was when we asked to go a little bit beyond what our initial directive was, based on the board, like Jim said, wondering at times, why are we, the board, deciding this? And we had Sean look through and highlight, if you will, or identify those issues. And there was a couple of close calls, and, the Plan Commission came down on it. It's ultimately going to be a board decision, as it should be. If the board thinks this is a Plan Commission, they don't want to see it, maybe the Plan Commission still has left too much for the board. That's a board decision, or maybe we took too much away, but there is that in there, and I think that was a change that we made last week.
Yeah, and it was a fairly subtle change. I mean, so it wouldn't necessarily just jump out at you, because you realize in zoning, plan commission, so to me, I think it's only important to the board to know that the commission can make some decisions that they weren't able to before. The general public, I don't think it's gonna make any difference at all, because, of the few places that we made that change.
And it wasn't very many, and I can't off the top of my head without my zoning thing in front of me identify them, but they are marked.
Oh, yeah,
They're marked in there, so.
And usually what it is, where you see the board, the village board crossed out.
Right, that's what you look for.
Because it used to say, you know, like the commission recommends to the village board, you know, that part, village board crossed out, says it's really a plan commission,
Right, that's how you identify it. If they cry, that's exactly right.
right?
So is this in an
It's in chapter 300, the whole,
Oh, chapter
all the-
300,
All the drafts are up on the,
right.
all the drafts, the latest draft, I saw, but all the
are up.
drafts
Yep,
are
I
up.
read them again today, just,
Right, and it's redlined and struck, so.
right.
Additions are added and struck words are shown as struck. And we did look at the matrix, and we did make a couple of changes there, where some items, I had, you know, went through it and identified, and we had a discussion on some items that were maybe permitted or as a conditional use or otherwise in a residential area where the plan commission said, well, we shouldn't even permit those in R1 and R2 zoning. So there was very small,
Some
you know,
eggs.
why have a contractor's yard in an R1 zoning? Well, you know, we struck that. That was an example.
A2, A3,
Yeah, A2 and A3, we
because
left.
it's a minimum 3-acre lot now.
Right, A2 and A3, we left most of them in as is.
Right.
As they are today. So that's the other thing. Plan Commission all attended a training that emphasized that matrix and to be careful and carefully review it. And so we did, I think, at the Plan Commission level. So the board should too. And again, the public can weigh in on that matrix as well.
Oh, it's a great tool. When the people call in for questions on planning and zoning and you can refer them to the matrix first, a lot of their questions can be answered just by looking at that matrix and then going to the code.
So we'd be looking for a motion to direct the clerk administrator to send the Village of Vernon draft zoning code to the village attorney for legal review as recommended by the Vernon Plan Commission.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? It's probably a long-winded teeing it up for me and Jim, I suppose. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next up is, I'll turn this over to our clerk administrator for a tee-up, but we, looking at our polling location, not only for August, but specifically on the agenda, it's only for August that we're deciding on, and also November, and this will be our polling location.
Right, there's no urgency for November, but the issue in August is, although everybody knows our facility, in August, if we have an election here in August, it's very, very hot and a little smelly because it's in the DPW garage. And then if you open the windows, the bugs are horrendous. So the fire department too, with what's happening with COVID, I mean, they said we could never hold it at the fire department. So I talked to the business administrator at McGuanago School District, Tom Karthauser, and then Tom talked to Sean McNulty, and he brought it to the school board, and the school board unanimously approved the Village of Vernon using Big Bend Elementary, which is in the Village of Vernon. The town of McGuanago uses like Rolling Hills when they have all their elections, and the nice thing having it at Big Bend Elementary in August, the children are not in school at the time. And we can use that whole gym, we can spread out. This election will be, although a partisan primary is not very popular in Wisconsin, and a lot of mistakes are made on the ballots, but the nice thing is we'll just have one ballot for all the wards. So it'll work out really, really well.
It will be heavily
Oh, it's gonna be,
attended because it's a partisan primary, true, but we have three candidates, Republican candidates for governor,
and how many Democrats, and
right.
there's
So
four,
there are, it's going to attract more than just the normal.
and 4 parties.
Right.
This will be a big, long ballot. Yes, sir.
If I remember right, though, there's only one door going into the gym from the outside.
There's 2. There's really 3. There's the 2 main doors right off the parking lot. Then up the steps is an exit, and then around the back is another exit. And then you can go through the cafeteria and go another exit.
Well, I know the one up the stairs, I wasn't even counting that one, because that seems like it's going in the wrong direction, you know.
Yeah, they would enter and exit off of the main doors, but there is
To the back, to the side parking.
the side parking lot. That's where all the traffic, that's where the most parking. And the nice thing too is it's lit. We don't have that luxury that everything's lit up in that parking lot. So if the board's inclined, if they think it's a good idea, then I would draft a resolution, because the board has to do that per a resolution. I'd have that ready for the next board meeting, that we could have that election. I did talk to my chief inspectors and my deputy chief inspectors, just to make sure that they were in agreement, and they were thrilled, because, not that, we're not picking on the DPW department, but August is a horrible time to have, I don't know how many mosquito bites people had last year. Not the voters were good, it's the election inspectors. So if the board is so inclined, then it would be just directing me to draft a resolution that you would vote on next meeting.
Well, that was our original choice, was to try to do it at the school, I think, earlier, at previous elections. We ended up being here because the elections were when the kids were at school.
Right. And the school board, just so the board knows, they did approve it in November also. We've got approval for that if the village board so chooses. So what we would do is we put it in the newsletter, and then on the part of the newsletter where it has the people's address, we'll put another banner. And I'm even tossing around possibly doing a few little
So will that be
signs.
the sole place?
That's the only place, yeah.
Okay.
We do have a big blank sign at the fire station, but they're not used to going to the fire station anymore. So we might have something up here too, just to let them know. Because even though it's in two places in the newsletter, people will still miss it or forget.
Yeah, I would say we'd have a sign at Fire Station 1, Fire Station 1 here,
Right,
and also right at Big Bend
Right,
Elementary, saying Vernon voters, all Vernon voters vote here.
and I did talk to the principal, and they'll put something on their sign, which is nice. They have a nice lit sign that we approved at the Plan Commission.
Okay, so I need to change my sample resolution.
Right,
here.
it would be,
Yeah, I sent you an email like, what do you need exactly?
yeah,
So I'll make a motion to direct the clerk administrator to draft a resolution to change all Village of Vernon polling locations for the August 9, 2022 partisan primary to Big Bend Elementary School. Good?
perfect.
Second.
Okay, who won?
I-
Okay, got it.
I heard trustee Slotty, but that's only because I sitting closer. The sound waves beat him. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we have a erroneous invoice.
Yes.
It's in your packet. I'm not sure if
This
there's,
is a real common name, and one of the deputies picked the wrong Peterson, so it has been corrected. But
right, Peterson's been
yes,
invoiced. So we
but
gotta-
as the ordinance states, anytime there's a voiding of an invoice, it has to be formally done by the village board. So that would be the request, is to void invoice number 8016 in the amount of $67.50.
So I'll make a motion to authorize the clerk administrator to void invoice number 8016 in the amount of $67.50 that Vernon erroneously billed pursuant to our taxation and finance ordinance 5-3.
Perfect.
Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we are on to, the treasurer position. As you all saw in the email, our treasurer has resigned, and he did say in his email, and also I talked to him, that he's willing to, he was appointed through June 30 and is willing to be treasurer through June 30. And so I put it on the agenda just to make that announcement and to get the process going to hire a new treasurer. And so we could take action tonight to advertise the position. I'm not sure where we should, off the top of my head, but we could discuss that and insert that in a motion. And we also have our how we're going to advertise it, the job position, and, or the job description and advertisement. We do have that from last year in 2021 that we could use. And again, we could just use that, or we could take a look at it. I think we need to get it posted and the process started. If not tonight, next week at staff. I'll put it on the agenda and then we gotta decide at staff. So I'm not sure if you're ready to act tonight. I know it just, I mean, he just resigned last week and I did talk to him Monday or Tuesday of this week, so. Thoughts?
Well, I've been, working with the HR committee, and we haven't been able to meet on this yet. Partly because one of them had COVID for a little bit. That's gone now for over a week, 2 weeks, really it is. And two of them couldn't make it this week, Tuesday either. So I put out actually Marie put out an email to the other three to get a meeting scheduled here as soon as we can, regardless of what day it is. I'll have to check with Karen on any day other than Tuesday, but
Yeah, Thursday's the only day that's bad.
that's,
Right.
I
Thursday
thought
was our
Wednesday
staff
too,
meeting.
I thought was bad.
No, Wednesday's good.
I thought there was, okay, but anyhow, we're gonna meet on it. I have here the job description that is currently in place. Although the whole HR committee was given copies of this a few months back, we didn't have any recommendations of any additions or changes to it. Although I've done some research on it this week and have a few things. I have a copy of the verbiage that we used for the ad. And I found a better one that I'd like to modify the verbiage on. But I think we should run it past our HR folks to get their input on it. We've already talked about, because I've brought this up at our HR meeting in the past already on the process, and one of them, Barb, was working on the actual process, documenting it. But we, all of us agreed that, like last year, we used Indeed, and at least on the town association, I don't remember if we did anybody else besides the town. Pardon me?
The League of National,
I don't think we did the league, but
yeah, they did for free in the town charge.
no, but that was, we had a different chair for the committee at that time, the lady. So I might not have been involved with that part of it. But I would recommend not using Indeed for this type of a position. I got 97 resumes from them, none of which were really qualified for the job that we were advertising. I don't know how that works, but the people that we need to advertise for sure on the Towns Association, on the league, and I have another one on the International Association. They'll just advertise locally, International League of somebody, of administrators or something. But I wanted to get the recommendations from our two professional HR folks to see if they had anything on it. We can get that done fairly quickly on any of them once we, decide what exactly we want to say. Actually, I thought this was kind of weak on what we did, but when I really got in, and I downloaded probably 50 such ads, the league really has quite a few openings right now.
So does the Clerks Association, so does the
Yeah.
Treasurers Association. And then we have the Wisconsin, one that you can do for free too.
Right. I was, surprised to see how many openings there are for administrators and clerks and treasurers. I mean, a lot, which means it's going to be potentially hard to get applicants, because some of them I think have been out there for a while. But so anyhow, that's where we stand. So I don't think we can do much of anything tonight. But we will get a meeting scheduled. I would like to see it done before next week, Thursday. Don't we have that
Staff meeting is,
Staff
next Thursday
Board of
at 1.
Review.
Thursday?
And in the morning, Sean and I are just packed with planning and zoning meetings, so Tuesday morning's not available either, but, I mean Thursday morning, but all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, all day Friday.
But, I mean, for the board to meet
Oh,
next week.
Right, the board meets we'll have a staff meeting, and.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we had already talked about tacking on.
and I sent a,
Approval of the newsletter because it
Right.
was kind of late coming out. This item, unless we were prepared to make a decision tonight to get it started, which it sounds like, that's why in my motions I said, well, we could table it to the staff meeting. Or, I don't really want to suggest tabling to the first meeting in June. I'd rather get it started and posted,
Right, that's,
because that's the first step, because you're going to have to let it post for 2 weeks before you can, start sorting resumes, so. And June 30, we'll be here quick.
what about the other person you interviewed, Jim? Do you know if she's available?
I haven't called her yet to see, but I know
just
she's still doing what she was doing when she applied the last time around.
Yeah, I just wondered.
Right. Yeah, we did have a second candidate come in.
Right.
It was,
Yeah, in fact, I voted for her. Who
it
said
was a
that?
close call.
Yeah, it was,
It was,
but, you know,
It was.
yeah.
So that's someone that you could call and personally see if she's still interested and personally
Right.
invite to reapply if you would.
That was actually the only other person out of all of them that did apply, that I would have considered going back to, but,
Yeah,
we can see.
Well, if we can get the HR committee, it'd be always good to have them weigh in on this kind of stuff. And we could put it on our board staff meeting at the end or at the beginning, I suppose.
yeah, whenever you decide, because I sent out that draft,
Yeah, that was just the
Because of
board
the-
approval, and sometimes we just dismiss the staff and continue the board meeting only.
Right, right.
At the end, or at the beginning, I know we have board of review, just to adjourn to a date and time certain.
that's gonna be like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
So I can change that immediately after, the
Right,
verbiage.
we could do that immediately after and do that right after board of review
Right.
perhaps, and before the staff comes.
Right,
And staff was supposed to start at
1:30.
1:30, so maybe in the board of review at 1:15, if we have to maybe move it up to 1, or, I don't know.
And Jim, I'll email you the sites that we used previously that you could get up, we could get it up on, whenever.
Yeah,
Right, because I've got Clerks Association, Treasurers Association, Towns Association, League of Municipalities, Vernon website, Vernon Facebook.
And then we have the Wisconsin site that we
Yeah.
use.
we all didn't think Facebook was any good, but that's what our
Can't hurt.
vote was. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, the other ones are,
it's,
even if it just refers you to another site for more information.
Right,
it'd
right.
be, worthwhile.
so my recommendation would be to table it until our next meeting,
To the staff meeting.
to the staff meeting.
Okay, you want to make the motion?
Didn't I just do that?
That's what I heard.
I thought I was doing that.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, but I would like to add, do we have a LinkedIn profile for the village?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is that something we should consider for posting the job?
Yeah, I'm still on LinkedIn from, my last company especially.
Yeah. I only ask because I get, probably 10 job offers a week on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
What are the good ones?
I've gotten some pretty good ones, actually.
Right, there's a lot of companies on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
It is more of a business-oriented, professionals,
right.
principally
Professionals, yeah.
professionals, right?
Yeah, if I were looking for a job right now, I'd be looking on LinkedIn, not on Facebook or anything else.
Right.
Right.
so.
Yeah, well, that's a good suggestion. Any further discussion on the motion to table until, I guess it's next week, Thursday?
Yes.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And Dylan, you did second that motion, correct?
I did.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on the spring, summer Vernon newsletter. We were pulling that together. I'm not sure where it stands. I think, Dan, you owed an article earlier this week. I'm not sure where you stand either. I was out of town earlier this week and got my article over to the Karen before I left, but I haven't followed up other than talking to you, Dan, about your newsletter. So, article,
Jim, did we get,
right.
did we get we are gonna put your hunter safety, and thank you so much for doing that. I can't tell you how many parents call to see.
Really?
Oh, and that's very nice of you, Jim. It's a great program for the kids.
It is. And we've got a pretty good team.
And if you find this is too small, maybe we could use the fire department too. I don't know what you prefer, Jim. You wanna start
We'd
here?
like to do as much as we can outside anyhow.
Right.
So this is
Okay.
ideal for that.
But thank you.
But if the weather's bad, we'd be in here. And obviously, we got to be in here to do the written test on
Right.
Saturday morning.
You're gonna make a lot of parents very happy, Jim.
Good.
Okay, so,
I copied Mike.
Yes, everything
Didn't I?
you sent me, I copied Mike on.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that it's in the newsletter, so people.
Oh, yes.
And the sign up will be all electronic and,
I don't know what you're going to do with the 3 pages.
oh, we'll get it.
Figure out how to do that.
Yep,
That took much longer than I expected to. It's hard to find the in-person sign-up
right,
on the web.
right.
I couldn't believe how, because that used to be the only thing there was. But now the DNR is pushing the online where you don't have any, and that costs $10. And then you still have to do a field day test, and that costs $24 more. But all of the instructors in Wisconsin that I've talked with don't feel like the internet is a way to teach people safety of carrying a firearm.
I agree.
right, it's hands-on.
Yep. I can't believe how many times we fail people because they'll walk around with their finger on the trigger or swinging a firearm around, past people. And it just takes repetition over and over again.
Yep, got to build good habits.
Yep. That's why we do it on 4 different days. Typically, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the tests, written tests, and then the hands-on tests Saturday morning.
So there's that in the newsletter that needs to be put in. Dan, you're revising yours, right? Everybody else submitted, I submitted, I know. Newsletter, what is the otherwise shape of the newsletter? Is that it?
Sent out,
Yeah.
everything. I just wanted to double check, I want to double check Mike's numbers. Sometimes, and I just want to double check that the hunter safety stuff is in there.
Did I tell you I wanted to limit it to 20
No, you didn't.
per class?
But we will.
But just based on the number of instructors I'm anticipating having, 20 would be the best number for us. We can work around it for a onesie or twosie either way, but
So should we table it with the idea that we need to get it done and get it out? If we table it, though, I want to put it on our staff meeting for final approval. Yeah. Everybody's thinking, yeah, okay, so,
Yeah, because it looks pretty good now, other than a few little changes.
yeah, so it should be, that's certainly an achievable goal.
yep.
And we'll have something banner about Big Bend Elementary Schools or,
It's already in there, but
Yeah.
on the sheet where the address is, we wanted to put all voting for August. Nothing about November, but August.
August, yeah, I think you gotta focus on
Big
August,
Bend Elementary in the Village of Vernon.
right?
Just so people understand that Big Bend Elementary is in the Village of Vernon.
Right. And you got Ms. Janik in there, yep. Yeah,
The fall newsletter comes out before November.
Usually October. Because we get all the tax stuff
Yeah,
and,
okay, so it is before the next election.
Yes,
anyhow.
oh, yes, yes,
So we have wherever we're gonna do it in that newsletter.
right.
Right, that's the only thing about changing voting locations is
Right.
people get confused,
We just- and-
frustrated. I came here and now I gotta go there and, you know.
I've always voted here.
Right. Okay, so I'll just make a motion to table approval of the 2022 Spring Summer Vernon newsletter to the May 26th Vernon Board and Staff meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, we're on to correspondence, announcements, and reports. I'll start, Village Board President. I don't have very much this week. We've been, covered our Plan Commission, which was principally the zoning changes, and we've had that on the agenda and got that going off to legal, so the public will be, kept informed about those changes as soon as it comes out of legal, and there'll be a public hearing on that. Nothing new on the development down. I know I've reported it in the past, down on it, off of Edgewood Avenue, the Hine, with the Newman development proposal. We did meet, as discussed with last meeting with the Village of McWanago, and they are meeting tonight or yesterday, tonight, their board.
Big Ben does.
Yeah. Wednesday, I think the Village of McWanago met last night, and I have not heard anything from them today to report about that development. So that's
Yeah.
still out there. I'm not sure if they're going to be on our June Plan Commission meeting. Otherwise, spring is coming, your crops can be planted, right? You never know in Wisconsin. So village trustees will go in reverse order. Trustee Datchick,
I do not have a report for tonight.
trustee,
Nothing to report.
trustee DeGrave.
I had one complaint referred to me, resident complaint. I turned that over to our building inspector, Vince, and I haven't heard anything more. So I think that he's probably moving ahead and taking care of it.
Okay.
So thanks to Vince.
Yeah, Vince is usually on our staff meeting, so I'm not sure if he's gonna be at this time around. Doesn't have anything, so it's probably a good thing. Anything else?
Nope.
Trustee Slaney?
The only things I had, we already talked about the hunter safety course that we're offering in July. And again, we'll offer a second hunter safety course in September. And then also our HR committee, Maria's out there right now trying to round everybody up. That's all I have.
Thank you. Sheriff, we've heard from the sheriff earlier, treasurer report. The treasurer isn't here. His part of the financials and so on are in our packets, so we'll move to clerk administrative report.
I just once again just wanted to thank Tom Kauthauser, the business administrator from Mukwonago School District, Sean McNulty, the superintendent of schools for the Mukwonago School District, and specifically the Mukwonago School Board for allowing the Village of Vernon to use Big Bend Elementary School for the elections. We have gotten tons of phone calls from peddlers in the village, and the sheriff's department has been awesome about, I call them the residents, I always encourage residents to call the dispatch unit, and that's right in the newsletter, 262-446-5070. If there's anybody, there are no permits issued in the Village of Vernon, and if they do, it's on the front page, their picture and their ID is on the front page of our website. And the village board has never, there's no applicants, and the village board hasn't approved one, I think, in 2 years. So just want to, this is the time when those people start soliciting. So please do not be afraid to contact the sheriff's department. Last week was a horrible week. I don't know if the board members got phone calls, but 2 trucks broke down for refuse pickup, and we had just probably the worst week we've ever had, but when 2 trucks go down, it's bad. So we'll see tomorrow how things go, but we're monitoring that. We have a huge log. We keep telling people that, you know, this is not unusual. I mean, it's unusual to have 2 trucks break down, but all the carriers are having problems with personnel, personnel leaving, trying to train people, so they're no different than anybody else's industry. So I just thank the residents for their patience. I've attended stormwater seminars and floodplain seminars that I'll give that information because our stormwater management plan is pretty close to completion. There's things that we're looking up that were in the old stormwater plan that I've never seen and John's never seen, so, but that's in the works too. But other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Moving to finances. Accounts payable, May 19th. And the one question I had, I talked to Karen earlier, was to double check on Verizon and track that through. Did we?
Yes, it is, the 262,
62
82
right
is the
nu-
correct
Is
amount.
the correct number? Okay.
And we also sent the invoice. They mistakenly just sent the statement for, yes, but the invoice was sent out subsequent.
Other questions? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion. I gotta get going here. I'll make a motion to approve batch 20220519 in the amount of 77,261.34. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed?
So I had 3 ayes and 2 nays, so I have a motion that got passed. 3-2. Okay, manual check. Was there? a
None.
manual check? None. April 2022 ACH transactions. Some of them we just approved, a bunch on May 19th here. Spectrum Capital One and Waste Management. As part of that batch, 77,000, right, Karen? Yes. Are there further ones? Let's just see. Are there further ACHs that we need to approve?
It's the 113, 28204. It's the 2 payrolls from April and then the ACH payroll transaction. It's
Usually
Like this
mark
color?
that. Yeah, I usually mark that. A little sticky, and I can't find my sticky. So we're looking for approval of the April 30 ACH April ACH transactions in the amount of $113,282.04. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Then I'll second.
Thanks, Carol. Well, you can have it.
Any discussion on the ACH? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Did you?
I voted in favor.
4-1, motion carries. April 2022 Aging Accounts Report, the 2022 financial report as it is, and are in your packet, and the December 2021 audited financial statements. Have we set,
A date for the review?
you reviewed, right?
No, Jim, when are you gone in June? The only reason I ask is Howard usually comes and presents the audited financial statement
The first week,
first week. Is anybody else gone in June?
starting with the first.
Right, I'm kind of busy through the 12th. I think you are too.
Yeah, yeah, I'll ask Howard, and then I'll ask Howard for some dates, because you want Tom there too, don't you, from finance?
I think so. It'd be nice to have a meeting where we can go through financial statements, other financial or accounting issues or procedures, those kinds of things. Howard will be here today, and why we've got his attention. You know, if your people want to have something specific to discuss with Howard, don't blindside him at the meeting. Let's get it on the agenda
Yeah, if there's any, yeah, I mean, he'll be prepared, fully prepared to talk about the financial statement, but if there's other items that you want him to be, aware of, that you would like to discuss anything, that's real important for him to know, so we can,
So, but that's gonna get scheduled sometime.
In June.
Mid-June, or that week later or something in there.
municipal reports, he's doing 3,
School board's got,
yeah, he's a little swamped right now, but.
right. So it will be, it's always a good meeting. Who doesn't like a good debit and credit, right, Karen? All right, we're on the village board minutes. May 2nd, 2022, I had some comments, and I think you did them.
Yes.
And I added reconvening an open session at the end. Apologize for not getting that to you
Oh, that's
sooner.
fine.
As I recall, I made those motions and Jim seconded, although my memory is not necessarily greatest on the seconds. That's how I recall it. It's, somebody says, no, I seconded it, or I made that motion. Well, let's make the change and get them approved. Otherwise, as I recall the 3 minutes that we came out of closed session.
Move to approve
Yes.
board meeting minutes?
May 5th.
May 5th.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Announcement of next village meetings, and they'll either be here in person or perhaps even via Zoom as we look at the COVID and the virus that is now circulating more and more, including in Waukesha County and Vernon. May 26th, 1:15 is our Board of Review meeting, simply to adjourn to a date and time later, and we're planned to adjourn to July 26th. May 26th is also our staff meeting, board and staff meeting. We also have at least 2 items on our board agenda for that day. June 2nd and 16th are our regular village board meetings. June 8th is our regular, Wednesday, June 8th is the regular plan commission. July 7th is when our new assessor is scheduled open book to begin, and we are planning board of review on July 26th, 2022. And we forgot to put in my report that I did take training tapes there. I would encourage all board members to take the training as nothing more, a refresher.
Is the CD here now?
It's right there, the DVD's here.
Is there more than one copy, or is it just
No.
one we're passing through?
But if, Jim, can you give me one data? I have to do something with it.
All right.
We want to see if I can get it on the board training site, so
Yeah.
board members can look at it at its leisure, and then I promise, if I can't do
All
that.
Yeah, they redid it, and
I wonder if I should give Dylan the 3 other ones.
Is the new one building on those?
It's addressing the new laws.
it addresses the new laws, but it doesn't,
It-
just trying to think to your question, would it be helpful for a brand-new person to start with maybe the one before? I don't think so. I think you could
That's
just I think you can just go into this one. It's pretty detailed.
Okay.
They redid the videotape and, or the video.
But if you walk away going like this, Dylan, let me know, then I'll give you the old.
Yeah, we can go back and get the old ones.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about it, but
Online still, isn't it?
No, you have to buy that.
Well, I did that online last
Yep,
year.
we were able to put them on flash drives so that you could watch it on a flash drive. That's okay. As long as you buy one,
Oh,
one
okay. I
DVD.
didn't realize I did it on a flash drive.
Right.
I thought I was actually just on a
Right.
website.
So you'll probably have flash drives for.
Right, that's what I would like to do. That way, board members can look at it at their leisure. They can stop, start, whatever works better for their.
Yeah, that works well.
Right, and since we only meet once a year at Board of Review, I always think it's good for a refresher, if
Right.
nothing else. I think they changed the scripts a little bit and
And I have a whole.
law and,
I have a whole list of things, nothing against our new assessors. I just want to, because of some of the significant changes in Vernon, I just want to make sure that the assessment roles are correct, and I'll type that up so that you're aware of what I'm concerned about also.
yeah, and I have some notes on I hard copied the outline, and I have some notes on there that we need to check in with our assessor to make sure he's ready to, prepared on July 26th.
I gotta give them, that's a hard job, what they're doing now, getting everything,
Well,
Together.
it's a year of transition, maintenance, and it's not necessarily going to be a smooth,
They never are.
they never are.
but I really think once they get going, once they get all their information,
Well,
yeah.
Sure. It's just gonna be a little, rough.
Right.
First year, but then the second year, in my newsletter article, and under our contract, it's, the whole village is gonna be reevaluated as of January 1, 2023. So that'll be a rough year too. There won't be a smooth year, maybe the following year.
It'll be a good year for us.
Right. Well,
Ooh, big tax roll,
well,
big.
yes, we are growing.
Good news and bad news.
Right.
Hard to keep it rural if we keep putting people in it. Just say it.
Just say it.
But they're really happy, Jim, once they get here.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're here and they don't want anybody else to come.
Right.
Not in my backyard.
All right, so we are on to number 11, closed session. I will make a motion to go into closed session as I read earlier in the meeting and as printed on the agenda. It will require a roll call vote, but first, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
President Carl Fortner?
Yes.
Trustees Jim Solani?
Yes.
Daniel DeGrave? Dylan Newman?
Yes.
Lorene Dashik?
Yes.
Mr. President, I'll note for the record that the village board is going into closed session at 8:12 PM. And by unanimous voice vote, I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you, and we do not take any action in closed session. If we reconvene in open session, it would be simply to, I think, schedule evaluations and have a process to do that. So with that, we take a, 5-minute break. We'll reconvene in closed session at 8:17.